Greetings and peace. I hope you and yours are doing well today, wherever you might be watching this from. And the Masonic education subject that I would like to cover for today is the importance that the true Freemason is known by his actions and deeds, not by the symbols that he wears. And in my perception and in my personal opinion and reflections, I believe it's not about wearing a shirt, a ring, a hat, an apron, or any other symbolism, or having a sticker on the back of your car which defines you're a Freemason. A Freemason is one who is constituting himself and exhibiting those qualities as the true exemplar of brotherly love, relief, and truth. In the majority of his dealings with himself and his family and social media, with his job, with his neighbor, in all aspects of life. You don't just do that once or twice a month at a lodge and call somebody brother, and then that same brother who probably asked you for some kind of help, you don't do nothing for them, right? Everyone likes to talk a big game and make promises, but when it comes time to help somebody, you're not there to help them. So that invalidates, and you are taking the name in of God or the grand architect in vain when you promise to be so, so, and so, but when it comes down to it, you fail to do so. Or that same brother who's there in lodge, you would never make the effort or basically make the intention to see them outside of lodge because you want to keep your personal life and the lodge separate. That's another problem where you'll have brother of certain demographics. They want to stick to their own people and own neighborhoods, and they only want to deal with you when they have to deal with you in lodge. So that also goes against the principles of brotherly love, relief, and truth. Because Freemasonry is ultimately the friendships you make, the experiences you have, and the lifelong bonds that you forge. That's ultimately what it's about. And it's not about wearing a ring, a hat, an apron. It's about how do you act in moments of distress, in moments of happiness, in moments of peace with yourself, with your family, with your loved ones, with the people that you love, people that are counting on you. So it all comes in fruition. You can't just wear a Masonic ring or a Masonic hat, etc., and act disrespectful or look down upon anyone in any way, shape, or form. You are there to be stewards of humanity, as I define in my personal perception for the Freemasons, to be the guardians of the specific realm that we are in right now. But are we currently doing a good job where you have old men at the top who refuse to change their ways and to allow my generation and future generations after me to bring in the positive reforms and change about what this fraternity is about helping humanity? And what excuse does our brotherhood have for the world in its current condition that it is, falling apart by the seams, and we are sitting by the wayside, doing nothing in times of cowardice, in times where people are just worrying about protecting their titles, ranks, and their own skin, rather than do something to help humanity? What are we doing? What are you doing to make your neighborhood better? If there's any kind of issues going on in your specific area, what are you doing to bring people together, to address issues? That's what it comes down to. Everyone's stuck in their comfort zone, and that's exactly what it is. As long as people have their alcohol and ball games, they're not going to care about anything else. So, again, you have to be the champions of moral virtue and change when it really comes down to it. And you have to be the true exemplar. If your specific lodge or Masonic body is not exhibiting those values, you speak out against it. Be the bringer of change, right? Because even in the Sufi aspect, Imam Ali says that my true friend and my true brother is the one who points out my flaws to me and my basically mistakes to me. He's my true friend and brother, not the one who just nods and says yes to everything. That is one that is leading you to a trap. Your true friend and brother will be the one that will help you perfect and build your character, as basically one man sharpens another, and we need each other on this journey. You can't just call somebody a brother and just call them when they need to pay their dues and not worry about, hey man, how you doing? How's your family? How you doing right now with the current inflation and the so many stresses that people are dealing with? What can we do to help you? What can you do to help us? Like that. If you make people involved, you make people valued, that's true brotherhood. What do business representatives do when they go and build basically a rapport and a relationship with the sales managers at different stores? That's exactly what they do. So, and that way, the sales manager, he has that personal bond now. Like, oh man, if I don't make these sales, then John, Joe, or Jill will be disappointed, and I really got to make the effort. So, in order for an organization whose lodges are being merged, whose districts are being merged, who's basically just hanging on by the seams with the older generation that are the only real participants at this point in its meetings and events. You gotta be the representatives of true change. Because young people like myself and the generations after me, like Generation Z and all that, you already see that they don't tolerate anyone's nonsense, especially with the mass resignation that happened during the COVID years, right? We're still seeing the effects of that right now, where if they're seeing any kind of abuse, they won't hesitate to walk away in a second, regardless of the who, what, where, and why. So this generation, mine and the one after me, they're more worried about esoteric knowledge, social change. What can we do to make our communities better? What can we do to make our lives better? Because look at it this way, my generation and the one after me, do we really have the resources right now to settle down and get married, get a home, start a family? You can't. Even now with multiple incomes in one home, you cannot, you're just barely hanging on. So it's tough. Every generation and every era has its own challenges. And the brotherhood has to adapt to that in order to ensure its survival. And that is the craft, right? A work in progress, a temple in progress. You are the temple. The world is your temple. And if you don't progress with each era, each cycle, each venue, then your structure will not progress. It will not build as the true builders that you are meant to be. So it's not about, okay, yeah, I went to the meeting and I wore an apron and I took some nice pictures for Facebook to tell people that I'm a Mason and feel good about myself and the ring and the hat and all that stuff. Yet you are not acting in a brotherly way with yourself and others when it comes down to it. So all of that is invalidated, that it doesn't count. Or if a brother reaches out to you for help, you don't help them. So what does that really do at the end? So, think about all these things that I'm telling you. You have to. Think about these things because when it really comes down to it, is it really just about paying dues? It's more than that. You have to hold those tenets in your life, exemplify them, profess them, teach them to yourself and others. Reach out to a brother. Hey, you want to get a coffee? So many people are mentally suffering right now. How's your family? Tell them about your family. Get to learn about theirs. And that's where the true human existence and fellowship gets built, my brothers and sisters that are watching this. We have this world today. We have these institutions and fraternities and all this system that we have. It's because of the people that have passed it down to us. So we owe it to future generations to basically work hard and make sure that it's all passed down. And make sure you are the example to the communities. You have to be an example of the communities. I have so many people that reach out to me and they say, hey, thank you for the videos that you put out. You eliminated my misconception of the fraternity. And I'm honored for that. I'm doing my own individual effort. So if everyone collectively makes their individual efforts rather than just talking about it, talking a good game, but when it comes time to help solve for others, they run away, then that's really not going to do anything. You really got to be about it for real change and progress to come and the good image to be promoted, not only for yourself, your fraternity, and the things that you align yourself with, but for the world in general, as Masonry teaches us that all human beings have a claim upon your kind offices. And you cannot just sit idly in contempt while the world around you is burning and being destroyed in chaos. The Masons were revolutionaries, kingmakers. I don't see that happening today. So think about all these things that I'm telling you, and I hope it has benefited you. Thank you.